In addition to the many elements of climate change humans are responsible for, changes in land also plays a huge role. One of the most pronounced changes in land that is dramatically and will dramatically continue to affect climate change is deforestation. So for my Capstone number 4 project, I decided to dig a little deeper into the deforestation in the Amazon rainforest. Trees and plants alike are utterly amazing things. They harvest energy from the sun in a process known as photosynthesis to grow, and it's during this process that carbon dioxide is stored. When we kill a plant or cut down a tree, that carbon dioxide is released into our atmosphere where it ultimately remains stored. I suppose that may not sound like a big deal, but imagine a few million acres of trees. It's an astronomical amount of carbon dioxide introduced into an already susceptible climate. The truly scary thing is that the reduction of a few million acres of trees is not hypothetical. The Amazon is by far the largest deforestation front in the planet. A report from the World Wildlife Organization estimates that there is roughly 90 to 140 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide being stored in the Amazon, while another report sheds light on just how much deforestation has taken place in the last decade. Professor Liberty Fittert of the University of Washington wrote that about 24,000 square miles, or about 1.3 million American football fields, have been deforested in the Amazon since 2010. You don't have to be a scientist to fathom how much CO2 must have been released over this time frame. The reason the oldest rainforest in the world is being cut down is a simple one: monetary gains. More and more people are fighting for their slice of their proverbial pie while paying little to no attention to the potential and highly likely repercussions. It's agriculture that's the primary reason 27% of the Amazon will be without trees by 2030. Bananas, palm oil, sugarcane, pineapples, cattle, tea, and coffee are the most plentiful commodities that have taken the place of where trees once lived. I'm just one person in a world of billions, so I understand everyone needs to provide for their families, but at what cost? Do those on the front lines of deforestation understand what their actions will eventually cause? Or worse, do they even care? Ultimately, the forecast isn't promising at all. As mentioned earlier, we can expect to see a depletion of roughly 27% of the Amazon by 2030. Some parts of the forest has risen by 1 to 1.5 degrees Celsius, and the dry season seems to be expanding. If the past is any indication of the future, which is often the case, we can expect to see these numbers not only continue, but increase. To illustrate just how bad things are getting, late August in 2020, videos surfaced on international news depicting out-of-control wildfires in the Amazon. As we have learned throughout this course, increased wildfires are a staple of climate change. And much like the decreased albedo effect in the Arctic, wildfires in the Amazon are a vicious climate change cycle. The future forecast for communities is sort of a double-edged sword. On one hand, deforestation on the Amazon will provide the resources for commodities bringing increased economic value to the area. But on the other hand, we are destroying the Amazon along with our planet. Not to mention the vast amount of wildlife that will lose their homes and eventually their lives. Along with essentially all other Capstone projects we've done, the solution ultimately lies with humanity. Simply screaming, "Stop cutting down trees," is a bit too easy and unrealistic. Increased awareness, government regulations, and reforestation are probably the greatest weapons we have against deforestation in the Amazon right now and into the future.